Hello, everybody, and welcome to Girls Run These Worlds. I was going to say community cleric because that's muscle memory for me, but welcome to Lord of the Rings Rangers of the North Season 2, sponsored by Free League Publishing's The One Ring System. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I am so excited to have this phenomenally tremendous cast who is going to do all the work for me. I just get to sit here in a corset and look decent. So that's what we're about. If you're joining us tonight for the first time, thank you. Hit the follow button. Say hi to us in chat. We are going to spend tonight doing some character creation, but I want my players to introduce themselves, and then we'll get into it. So I'm just going to go in unorder, and I'm going to start with Anita.
Oh, that's me. Hey, everybody. I am Anita. I use she, her pronouns. You're going to meet the character that I'm playing tonight later. But, yeah, I guess that's me. Is there anything you want me to say at this point in time, Sarah?
No. We're going to get into characters in just a minute.
Awesome. Anita, she, her pronouns. And I will pass it down to Jazz. Jazz.
What up? I'm Jazz. I use she, they pronouns. You'll meet my character later. If you know me very well, you probably recognize this wig. But I like to reuse and recycle. You know, reduce, reuse, recycle.
It's responsible.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And I am going to pass it to Ark.
Hello, I'm Ark, Arcanian Ending, everywhere. Sorry, my dog is injured and causing chaos behind me. Super excited to be back. I'm reprising my character of Pen for Season 2 into the new system. Guess I'll pass it to Katie. You're next to me. This way.
Am I next? Hi, I'm Katie. I use she, them pronouns. Although I'm really enjoying, I've never heard the she before, and I kind of love that. So I'm like, might appropriate that particularly. This is my first time on Girls Run These Worlds, and I love it. I'm very excited to play with all these wonderful she, they, them, she humans. Yeah, we'll meet my character shortly. But my makeup is part of it. This isn't just how I look.
JJ?
Hello, friends. It's me again. I love seeing you all here. Welcome to everyone who's new. Hello, I'm JJ. And I had to bust out the fur for this, bringing back my character, Kiana from season 1. If you're familiar, I got you. If you're not, you about to learn. So, I'm here to have a great time. Welcome, everyone. Cannot wait to begin. Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
Ark, send us to our credits. I should have... Welcome back, friends. It has been a hard winter for the people of Eriador, where our story opens. The rain has fallen thickly in the town of Bree and all across the Shirelands. Mudslides have been common, and even where the land is holding tight, many wonder if the layers of caked-on clay and silt will ever come off well-worn boots. The cold damp has settled into the boots and lungs of even the hardiest folk, and even the slop pigs are ready for a burst of sunlight into this place. But in the town of Bree, where our fellowship begins, Our friends will find warmth, companionship, and purpose together. And with that, I would love to introduce the characters of this amazing setting. We, as you can tell, are going full costume, full fun times, and yeah, we're super keen. So let me start with Jazz. No, we're not going to start with Jazz. Jazz hasn't rolled stats yet. We're not starting with Jazz. We're going to start with Anita because I know Anita rolled stats because Anita was talking to me about stats yesterday. Anita, can you tell me who your character is? We didn't start building these characters for everybody watching. We didn't start building these characters in the One Ring setting. We built them in different settings. Some of us use the coded decipher system, which is trash and don't get that. Some of us use D&D 5th edition. Some of us have used maybe some other playbooks or inspiration from other spaces. And then we're going tonight to do some translating into the One Ring 5th edition port by Free League Publishing. So Anita, tell us a little bit about your character.
All right, so just like describing this character as they walk into the city of Bree. Beautiful. Yeah, I guess you all would see a pretty tall person. Like my character's name is Guzdox. She uses she, they pronouns. And they are leaning heavily on a staff, like as they like walk the path to get to the city of Bree. Looking honestly pretty winded. Not the best at like doing the traveling over long distances. But as like the camera pans down and we see seems like a dreary, like dark day. We can see through like the cold, like the overcast sky, an orcish face, which would be very concerning for most of the people in Bree, based on most interactions with orcs that they would have. But there is something, I guess, different. There aren't like any hooked swords. This person isn't armed in any obvious way, except for a small dagger on the belt and a walking stick at their side. They are wearing a cloak pulled closely like around them and are very like muddy, just like there's mud caking their hands, their clothes, like any like visible space like on them has like streaks of mud on it. And as they get and like when I say orcish, we're talking like Lord of the Rings orc. Like when I went into Google and like typed female orc, a lot of the orcs looked pretty. Like very symmetrical faces, like a lot of that's not Guzdox's whole deal. Like a very lumpy like face, very like pale, sort of like all around, bald, like one eye sort of like looks like it is just swollen shut with just like the skin that is like hanging. But yeah, as she gets to like about the outskirts of town, she sort of like notices getting closer to civilization and puts on a mask that I shall debut right now. And that's how is my sound hearing?
Good.
I mean, it's, you know what?
Producer?
Yeah, it's a little bit muffled, but it's still clear.
Okay.
Okay, so as Guzdox first enters this village of Bree, they comes with a whole set of skills and life experiences. You and I had talked off stream that at one point that she definitely was Saruman created, and that they left their orc regiment in search of something. Something wasn't hitting right with them. So when you first conceived this, I know you and I had talked about conceiving it within the confines of D&D. What and obviously orc being a playable race in D&D, what was the class though that you felt really fit Guzdox the best?
Okay. Yeah. And since I'm like out of character now and talking, we'll
switch
especially
back and
since
forth.
like we want good audio and whatnot. 1 second. The sort of class that was sort of class in D&D that
Yes.
I thought of
Yeah.
was Druid. Specifically just because of Druid, specifically because like I wanted this character to like draw a lot of magic and energy from the earth. In the Twin Towers and in the Fellowship, there are a lot of scenes of the orcs just like being birthed out of the stuff of Middle Earth and magic. And I thought that was cool. And it made me think there is a lot of like, these are people that are made of magic, that are just like people in the world now. They are probably very, very good at magic, or could be very, very good at magic, if they didn't have the voice of an evil wizard in their head all the time. And I wanted to explore, yeah, what is this? Guzdox is a character that was one of the first experiments to come out of Isengard that Saruman at first thought was just a failed experiment. So defies all odds, survives. Now what do we do? And yeah, that's the vibe.
That's the vibe. All right. That is excellent to get us started. Let me go down to GRTW newcomer Katie. Tell us a little bit about our spooky girl.
Well, okay. So in the same way, I think that Anita was thinking about, the like stereotypes of orcs in the Lord of the Rings universe. I was thinking about elves and how they're all, not in the like, I guess in the new like Amazon series, they're a little bit different. At least like, we have black elves, woo. But they're still like kind of similar in vibes. It's all very like ethereal and like soccer player bodies, if anything, muscular at all. But very like willowy and thin and chill. And so I thought, what if an elf was born who wasn't blonde and ethereal, and what if they were like curvy and a little bit shorter? And I guess like it's a little bit like D&D like 5e, like half elves is sort of like the inspiration I took of like, what if they were not this perfect super pointy-eared elf scenario? What if maybe I don't know whether my character particularly has like a human or other race parent. Probably not. I think they're just born a little different. Perhaps we're changing over time. Gosh, what did I name them? Gilthonial, but friends call them Gilly. It means something silly. It means star kindler, which I thought was cool.
Spell it for me.
Oh yeah, Gilthoniel.
Thoniel. I really appreciate how you did it spelling bee style, where you said the word, spelled the word, said the word. That That was excellent.
Good.
Great form.
I'm glad that you have a similar way that I need to hear things spelled to me. Yeah. So the idea,
okay.
yeah. So the idea with Gilly was that, you know, instead of being this ethereal thing, they're curvy, a little bit shorter, you know, like big curly red hair, because that's my jam. Apparently it's in a little bun right now, but it is very curly. That's like shaved sides of head, big braid, kind of like long hair still, because that would be weird if they didn't have long hair. That's like one thing about their culture that she's into. I don't know. And like very goth vibes, because, you know, everyone's very like, look at the stars and maybe that will tell us the future. And she's like, look at these stars. Let's find like a black hole and tell the future in like a weird way. Yeah, so she's definitely, her aesthetic is very, very different from her elven roots.
I love that. I totally have this image of like the camera, you know, grandly lit moon, full moon night in Rivendell, as you know, the elves are singing this beautiful haunting melody to the moon. And as the camera pans, like Gilly is also singing the song. Gilly's participating in the culture, but Gilly is looking at the moonshine on like the dewy web of like a spider web. And like reading that same beauty and that same majesty, just in a very different way. I'm already loving that.
Or like he's in the corner making like a little runes on the ground with candles, being like, let's channel the old magic.
We're here for it. Did you tell me Gilly's pronouns and I just didn't write them down?
Oh, I think it's the same as mine, like she, they.
She, they. You got it.
Yeah, and so
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the inspiration, or like the class or whatever that I picked. I did mine fully like a 5e character, because that's the thing I'm most familiar with, and I don't do great reading giant blocks of text. So I made a bard of spirits, which is, you know, like this, like our girl shops at Hot Topic and likes Ouija boards, and you know. Also takes like, you know, has all of this wisdom of the fae and the elves and everything, but also like tries weird spells sometimes when no one's looking, to see if she can, you know, summon a spirit to hang out with her.
Look, everybody needs a familiar. The world would be better if everybody had a familiar. Anita, what were you going to say?
I love that the energy so far is Mordor. It's just like,
oh yeah,
walking into town, here's a goth elf.
Well, and here's the thing: she like probably like understands Sauron's point of view.
Oh
like,
my God.
doesn't agree, but understands it. Like everyone has different perspectives.
What? Tell me she's autistic without telling me she's autistic, of like that idea of being able to understand without having to carry that belief for yourself.
Oh yeah, and like I think she's got a bit of like a feeling of like otherness about her as well, because, you know, she hasn't really fit in with her elf brethren. I don't think anyone's particularly like mean or like bullying to her, but she just feels like she's looking for something else. Like this setting that she was born into doesn't give her the things that she needs, and so she's gone off on an adventure and is like probably sitting at a in a bar, like reading rune stones for people and stuff. Very, very charismatic, not very anything else.
Fantastic. Well, that is excellent. Before we move on, let me say hello. We got a raid. Hello, raiders. Thank you for Fumble folks coming over and saying hi to us and hanging out with us tonight as we do some character prep in preparation for our 5-week story that launches in 2 weeks. Because next week is Juneteenth. And you'll see Anita next week with another amazing cast to tell a Juneteenth story. Okay, let me go to JJ. Tell me, this, for some of you have been with us for the first season. We're going into our second season. We have some new players, but JJ is one of the 2 returning players from the first season. Kiana and the fur and the headband are back.
Absolutely.
And tell us about who Kiana was in the first season, where she comes from, what's her vibe?
All right. So, hello everyone. I'm back. So Yeah, so Kiana is my human barbarian who was originally from the hills of Evendom, I'm pretty sure, and was a Middle Earth human or whatever. So let's see. Kiana got into adventuring because she has a brother who grew up with her. So they grew up like in the wilderness, being trained by their father. So Kiana's pretty like rough. Like if you like really rough around the edges. Doesn't really know how to do anything like really soft or elegantly. Everything is all chaos all the time. And so so her brother mysteriously disappeared one day, and that she went out pretty much searching for him. And that's when I ran into the crew in this small little town, which was exciting. So my character, not being really well traveled, was just kind of like, I'm just here to like fight shit. Like, so,
and fight shit she did.
Yes, fight shit she did. I was out here throwing wolves into other wolves, and it was amazing. I was over here frisbeeing wolves. It was great. It was fantastic. I had a wonderful time. And yeah, I really liked the adventures that Kiana went. She definitely grew as a person during the first season. Definitely being kind of like this really cocky, straightforward person to really getting to learn about the other players, Penn, Grandma Nellie, who we all loved.
Lulu just showed up in chat, by the way.
Lulu, we love you. Yeah, and so my character Kiana kind of really learned to find like strength in different ways. For example, there was a very iconic fight with the wolves where Grandma Nellie was doing some mad damage with her little rolling pin that nobody was expecting. Nobody was expecting Gma to get up in there, but she got up in there. She got up in there. And we are very proud of her. And it was amazing for my character to be like, yeah, let's fucking go, So yeah, my character is definitely a wild child, very rambunctious, very kind of straightforward, and a little bit naive, not very like she's very used to just fighting and kind of manhandling her way through things, woman handling, however we want to say it here.
Yep.
And so she is definitely, I would say, since season 1, at the end of season 1, she decided to stay in the town with Grandma Nellie. Grandma Nellie was going to teach her some recipes because Kiana was obsessed with Grandma Nellie's sticky buns. They were amazing. They were fantastic. And so I have just been under the tutelage of Grandma Nellie, learning how to bake all these wonderful goods, and probably in the meantime working on my anger issues. So probably not as ready to fight people in season 2. I don't know. We'll see. Because sometimes it takes the right person to get it popping. You know what I mean? So you never know. You never know. So we'll see. But yeah, that's my character. My character loves to make friends. And enemies, let's be real. It depends on the vibes. So yeah, I'm super excited to be back, to definitely see what my character does this season for sure.
Fantastic. All right. And then we'll go over to our other returning player, Arc. Talk to us about Penn.
Yes, I will be reprising Pennerian, Penn for short, because that's difficult to say. It means like child of no one. I was feeling edgy at the time, I guess, living my 14-year-old emo fantasy. But Penn is the 5th child down the line of a small noble lord of Gondor, one of 7 kids.
Wow.
So she, in the first season, was kind of striking out on her own. She'd been traveling a little bit before she met the group, but not for too long. And she's kind of finding her stride in protecting the small folk, and absolutely loved saving our damsel in distress, and being there for her, having those like epic look at me moments. I am fantastic with the sword and shield. Finally kind of stepping into her own away from her family. And I've been teaching myself chainmail, and hopefully this will be done next week so that I can rock that.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You have 2
I got
weeks.
time.
It'll be done. Let's
I
go.
have so much time to impress you.
Let's go. I was in a meeting with ARC on Saturday, and we were all just like sitting there doing like hard work. And then at the end, ARC held up just a little tiny and was like, "Look what I learned how to do during this important meeting." And we were like, "Tell me you're neurodivergent without telling me you're neurodivergent." Yeah, that's how that goes. Finally, last but very much not least, Jazz, talk to us about. And I'm gonna cut this name up into 2 full proper chunks. Heroine.
I wasn't thinking when I made the name, but then I liked it a lot. So
it's so good. It's so good.
Great, but it's unfortunate. Yeah. So we have Heroine. You can call her Hero or you can call her Ren. Maybe not the full thing. It's a mouthful. Yeah, she is a very young elf, the baby of her family, in fact. And I went with Rogue, assassin Rogue, actually. Fun fact, she's a little spicy.
Woo!
Little spicy badass girl. Yeah, so she's called Hero. Hero means like I don't want to say like danger, but like it's well, yeah, kind of like danger and destruction. And Ren is a bird, but the bird symbolizes like rebirth and hope and like life and like springtime. So I chose this name specifically because she is a little hellion, but she's also very cute. She's quite naive. Like I said, she's the youngest in her family, and while like her family is very focused on like, you know, protecting their little section. Oh, I forgot to mention that she's from a place called the Wilder Woods, which is something I made up because I don't know a lot of elf lore. I know more dwarf lore than I know elf lore in Lord of the Rings, but I really wanted to play a black elf, so here I am. And yeah,
yep. So, I'm stealing your lore, and that's now where I'm from too, because we're friends. So thank you for doing the hard work for me.
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Right, maybe we escape together. Yes, it is. She is Hero Ren of the Wilder Woods, and it is a place that is quite detached from the rest of the world. It is obviously it's called the Wilder Woods, and it's quite dangerous. And so her family, which is like the ruling family of the woods, protects it, and they are very focused on like staying in one place and protecting their people and not interacting with other people because that's dangerous. And she's like, but I want to see the world. And they're like, no, child, that's dangerous. And she's like, okay then. And then she sneaks away and she travels all the way, I suppose with her friend, to Bree. And that's now we're here. She's very
and now we are here, and I am so excited that we are here with this group. So for those of you who are just joining us, we are doing some character creation. We are new players for Free League Publishing's The One Ring system, and we are excited to kind of get into it. So we met last week, and first off, I should say for anybody who's thinking about running a campaign, or even if you're playing with your friends, or you're playing with strangers, or you're running an AP, please run a session 0. Talk about your safety lines and veils. Talk about what people want out of the campaign. Talk about healthy metagaming, and are you going to follow a plot? Is it open world? DMs, be honest with your players around what your prep time looks like and your process. And we did that last week. And thank you to Councilmember Mo for facilitating that for us. And so we have these characters set from other systems, from D&D, from Decipher's Coda system. And we have spent some time over the last week looking at the One Ring system and how to translate that. And so I want to go down really quickly and talk about the way that the One Ring works, because it is a very canon piece. It's worked with the Tolkien estate to give it a very authentic feel, which means that there are some things that, even though it's a D&D port, some things from D&D kind of come off the table or really have to be homebrewed in. So I wanted to talk just very briefly that there are much more limited cultures. They're not called races here. They're called cultures, and they're not called classes. They're called callings, I believe. Am I totally wrong? You guys say that I'm right. And so there are more limited features of that. Very specifically, in the One Ring 5e port, there are no magic users. Magic in this system is gained through the use of magic items. But in keeping with kind of the larger Tolkien lore, there is sorcery and things that anybody could learn to do. Those create shadow points and corruption. Those are, it's generally not good if you're not inherently magical that you're able to use that. That being said, you've just heard our characters talk about how they already have these connections. We have a bard elf who, I mean, I would say that elves that there is an inherent magic to them. We know that like Elrond can have premonitions of the future, and so can Galadriel. Like there are some inherent magic qualities to elves. And I think also with orcs, in particular with Saruman created orcs, that there is this connection to nature. And I think even the Rings of Power, if we're reaching out to a more recent version of what that universe could look like, you know, the orcs there had an abusive maybe relationship with nature. They were super the opposite of it. But I'll be honest with you, like for me, for somebody to hate something that much, like the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is apathy. For the orcs to have that much anger and frustration and hate for nature, it's because there's got to be a connection. And you know, I'm here for it. I say we're going to do a little bit of homebrew to allow that. Anita, you are making all the faces.
I didn't know this. I haven't watched like the most recent thing on Amazon with the Lord of the Rings. So Orcolore is there, and I should check it out.
It is set way before. It's set like before the final battle with Saruman, and the proto hobbits, the Harfoots are. I mean, I am a hobbit in real life, but they are just the best. I would also argue that they get druidic magic. So
Our feet.
The Harfeet. Oh my God, they're so good. Listen, fuck Amazon, but honestly, that series is pretty decent. Okay.
We don't have time to unpack all of that.
Ark, can you make a time note that we have to edit that out before this goes on to YouTube? Thank you. Okay. Love that for me. I'm going to keep it together, folks. Okay, so we've got these characters. The One Ring system is a low magic system, and I think Lord of the Rings in general is a low magic. We played a low magic system for the first season. Not that there is no magic, and I am definitely going to have a druid and a bard in our troop, but magic comes at a cost. And magic certainly isn't as available as it is in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. So, you know, the use of cantrips really need to be for like the culture references that I was going for was like how Gandalf weaves the smoke into like a shape and sends it off, or how Gandalf can infuse some magic into the firecrackers to like make them do extraordinary things. They're not world changing. When Gandalf or Radagast or Saruman use really significant magic, when we see that happening, it takes a toll on them. There is always a cost to that. And so, you know, I've had that conversation. That conversation continues to evolve with the players around how does that work for us and what does that look like, and being really focused. The one thing that I will say as my homebrew rule is that I have told my 2 spellcasters that they have access to the entire range of spells for that class, as long as it's within their spell class, you know, abilities. Like they can't just use a 9th level spell. We're starting with level 4 or 5 characters. But we are, you know, but they have ability to access any of the spells in that without having to kind of prepare them or decide on a limited number. both of my spellcasters do have very clear concept of their characters and which spells they would use and wouldn't. I will say that one of the other limits that happens, and not just for the spellcasters, but for all of the players, is the One Ring system does have this mechanic around shadow and corruption. And so I should have said from the beginning, we are a lore light system. None of us are Tolkien. Well, I actually don't know this. I don't think any of us are hardcore Tolkien scholars. I know Jazz is probably a little bit ahead of the rest of us. Is Katie too? Okay, it's cool with me.
But I'm just going to be quiet. It's fine.
No, go for it. I very much.
I know a lot about dwarves. That's it, though.
I'm going to have to be very careful with how I represent the dwarves in this setting. I am definitely not a Tolkien scholar. So what we have decided as a table that our base level of knowledge would be like the movies. The movies would be something that I think all of us have definitely seen multiple times. That would be our base level. And so we'll go back to those references in terms of deciding, is this right for this setting or is this not? Okay, I've been talking for a hot minute. So yes, we're going to allow magic. That is a little bit different than the One Ring system straight out of the box. So I just wanted to be upfront about that. Yeah, I think I talked a lot. Okay. I know I talked a lot because I was watching the time. Keep on ticking. Okay.
Does it count being a Tolkien scholar if you dated a poster of Legolas on and off for about 3 years in middle school?
I am not saying that's the only reason you were cast, but you put that in the casting application that you were in a significant relationship with the poster of Legolas in middle school. And I was like, is the right vibes for sure.
I had my first existential crisis of my life at 11 years old when I was reading the books, and then I have proof of it in my journals that I had, where I realized that I was in love with this character who is not a real person. And can you love something that doesn't exist? And what makes something exist? And like, I'll never meet them, I'll never marry them, I'll never touch them, but like, I feel this love for this character that I know in my bones. And I think that's where my depression started. But that's okay.
I'm going to throw this back to the fact that in addition to Girls Run These Worlds, we have a publishing company called Girls Write These Worlds. We are currently looking for authors for zine number 4, of which the theme is routines, talking about how things happen. Thank you for somebody who put that in there. How things happen in games that aren't combat, that aren't directly plot related. What is the downtime activity that isn't just random travel encounter or
just making out with a poster of Legolas?
Making out with I earlier had posited that somebody could do therapy as a submission for this, and I just felt like that connected to the fact that we were sharing a little bit for you, Katie.
That I did a lot of therapy specifically about that. It was actually for my daddy issues, but it was somehow connected. It's fine.
I mean, daddy issues do come up in Zine 3, Pride, which launches on Thursday. So everybody go and get your copy on it.
Go check it out, y'all.
It's amazing. It's an all queer. Everybody who worked on it is queer. From the layout editors to the copy editors, every artist, every author.
Love to see it.
Yes.
All of us are queer. So go and check that out. Okay. I'm going to bring us back to this setting though. We have these characters that are in different settings, and we need to talk about how they fit into the One Ring system. I know that we have a bit.ly that's kind of sitting in our Twitch chat. If you go to that link, you can download a character sheet. You can also go and look through like the rules and stuff as we're talking about them. So go, there it is. Thank you, Ark. Fucking on it. Love that. Anita, we'll go to you first. Guzdox as an orc druid in D&D. How is that going to look like in the One Ring system with the calling and the culture? I know we're going to keep an orc, which isn't a playable culture in the One Ring system. We're going to keep going with it. That's okay. Druid also is no magic casters in this system. But what have you found in this system that is going to be something that you're able to pull in?
Word. So yeah, I really liked the idea that like, okay, maybe Gustox like has this connection to the earth, maybe like she feels a lot of magic and feels like she should be able to do things with it, but maybe isn't able to because for a number of reasons, because Middle Earth is a low magic place, because um, she can't find anybody to teach her. So I really looked at all of the callings and thought, hey, maybe if we can take like the first level of druid and just like get access to some spells, but then for the rest, multi-class into the scholar calling. Because yeah, the scholar calling is really, really fun. It's just very focused in learning and trying to like gain information just about the worlds. And I think specifically with the scholar, um, gosh, sub calling, I guess we can call it. The healer sort of sub calling. I feel like I decided like very early on that Gustox was like, okay, I have done things that I regret, that I don't really like. How do I like transform this like guilt into something productive? And they learned how to be a healer. So I really liked the scholar. A lot of the things about scholar, they have like, I'm pretty sure this like bardic inspiration-esque sort of mechanic that, oh my god, fine, baby, up here. She demanded attention and I am powerless to stop her. But no, the yeah, scholar, healing sub calling, and one level in druid to like show the little spark of magic that also like not very well trained. It's still very instinctual. I feel like that sort of made sense.
I love that. An orc druid scholar is where we're going with this. I love that. That's fantastic. Gilly, I'm just going to go down in order of how we introduced. Gilly is in D&D an elf bard of spirits. Elf is, of course, one of the classes you can play in Lord of the Rings system. Bard of spirits is, I mean, a magic caster, so not one of those things.
Yeah.
Did you find a calling that started to? I don't know if you had, but if you didn't, I have an idea for you.
I would love to hear your idea. I really struggled with trying to, because there was like compared to 5e with all of these options, it's very pared down, which makes it a lot easier to use. I just wasn't really sure how to fit my weird hot topic bard into any of these categories. So like I was looking at like messenger and warden, but I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm curious about yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for Gilly is such a unique character in terms of who she is and what she values, but also the skills that she would have learned along the way. I think, even like to cross references entirely, Spock raised in, Vulcan still had like all of the knowledge, had to go to school with all the Vulcan kids, but also had this whole other like instinctual piece. So I was looking also at Scholar. There is another subclass called Lore Master, and I thought that was really interesting. But I think you were totally There is also the messenger path, which is the messenger is one of the callings, and it's not. Although I was also thinking messenger for Jazz, for Ren, because I'm not going to say that a bazillion times wrong. For Ren, there is that messenger piece where there is the herald, where there is the counselor aspect to it. I don't know. I think really you can kind of pull from a lot of different things.
I feel like I didn't notice the lore subclass for the scholar. Like my goal was to try to like get everything very varied so we're not all doing the same things. But if there's like a scholar lore thing, I feel like elves are kind of scholars a lot of the time. You know, they learn a lot of things. They have a lot of, not you, but they tried their darndest with you. That never happened, sure.
They tried.
Yeah.
Head of clouds.
But I feel like Gilly, it would be happy to soak up anything, like you know, like not super intelligent, but like knowledge, information, like all this, like all the things, and then it turns into weird ideas for her and stuff. But like a lot of the stuff that she wants to try is based on like lore of the yesteryear, of like all these like different types of magic and stuff, and not just the like, we pour water into a bowl and then look at the stars. So I think that makes sense for her.
Yeah, and I will say, for anybody who has the book at home, or for my players, on page 44, there is, gotta love a table. I love a table so much. There is a little piece that shows the 6 callings, and it has like one sentence that sums up the calling. So for scholar, it's a master of learning, familiar with ancient lore and healing arts. But the 2 subclasses really like specialized in one or the other. And I think it would make a lot of sense. We're not going to be getting rid of the bard piece, and particularly like some of those College of Spirits, the way in which that uses the arcane, I think is a really unique player point for Gilly. But in terms of, you know, just kind of looking at it within the One Ring system, I think scholar makes sense.
Yep, I think so too. And then we have like one on the like medical side and healing, and one on the lore side, and they're still very different.
Exactly. So, you need a Crusher and a Troy. You need both to run that fucking ship full of dudes. You know
it's
what I'm
like
saying?
How you can have 2 bards on a team and they do the different types of bards. Like it's okay to have the same thing as long as we, you know, have things varied a bit. Wow, words are hard. Anywho,
look,
I agree.
Fantastic. Oh, is that our code? They don't even know about the code yet.
They don't know about the code.
They don't even know about the code. The audience doesn't know about the code. We will explain the code. We're going to get to that very shortly. Okay, next going down my list, Kiana. Wolf Thrower, first of her name.
Yes.
Kiana, you are going to continue to play a human.
Yes.
Did you, looking at the callings that are there, there is Captain, which is more kind of like around the leading of others. I think originally Kiana was more of like a barbarian class, a little bit, you know, that rough around the edges piece, right? There is also Champion, which is, is that the one that you're going for? I think that's really brilliant. A fierce warrior skilled with a variety of weapons and armor. However, I don't know if you saw Warden, but I just wanted to run this past you for a minute. A protector of the weak who blends martial prowess and knowledge of the land. And I just feel like Kiana has traveled so much and definitely had so much experience, like living in nature, camping. She was very like, you know, that was very much her vibe. She didn't grow up in a city, but she is definitely a protector of the weak. That has been true all the way since the very first moment that we met her.
I like that. Actually, I really like that.
Yeah, and then that martial prowess, like Kiana's weapon of choice is wolves. Like Kiana yeets shit into other shit. So, you know, it's not necessarily that piece of, you know, I have a sword and a shield and my axe. You're like, and my wolf. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because Because yeah, if I wasn't doing damage with my great axe, I was just like, I'm gonna start yeeting stuff, and that's exactly what I did. Sometimes I had to yeet myself, and that was fine. I was
That-
You just
willing
take
to
off
do
that
that.
lace front wig and you just
Yes,
use it
yes.
as to blind people.
My beautiful curls were just in the wind as I was yeeting wolves. It was amazing.
I think we did describe that. We definitely
Yes.
there is video of that for sure. Okay, so human
Oh, I
and
like that.
warden. Do
I
you
like
want to?
that.
I can give you a second to look through it. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'll go down to Panerian, the noble, and then we'll come back up to JJ. Ark, talk to us about Pen and how Pen fits into the One Ring system.
Yes. Before I was a human, parentheses from Gondor, noble. So I was kind of like a fighter, but with more of like a protection or battle master kind of feel to it. So I jumped in to the new system, saw Captain, felt like that really fit that
Hundo.
vibe. Just like full armor, inspires others, protects with the shield, can take damage for you guys. That's how I felt Pen fit in. But there's no like exact Gondor human in the new system, so I picked Bardine as like as close as I could get, and then just kind of worked with the options in there to make it feel like the old character. And honestly, it slaps. It slays.
It's working
Yeah.
for you. So fantastic. Did you so of Captain, there is a couple different titles there. There is like the chieftain, which is a leader and weapon master. There is a thane, which is where you've sworn service to a king and serve as a chosen fighter. Now I know Pen's history is that, you know, she's not in the line of I mean, she is in the line of succession. It's hard to get there. She's gone off to go find her own fame and glory. What do you think? Where do you does Penn still hold allegiance to Anithian, where she is from?
Yeah, so my last character, we had to have flaws or like fealties if you pick noble. So that was one of the things I picked, is that I was still had fealty to Gondor and I could be called home in if there was like a battle or war, I could be called to fight in it. So I went with Thane because of that, and I kind of felt like the options there fit a little bit more with like just being valiant and leadership. And I do have loyalty to my home. I don't want my siblings to die. Like I don't actually want to sit on the throne. I have a decent relationship with them. It's just you grow up with 6 siblings, man. It's too much. You can't live there long term as an adult. There's way too much chaos. And I do have a matriarch who sits on the throne. We're lowly lords. We're not like that cool. But you should roast me for being elitist. That is definitely part of Penn's character. So
she's lived she has a lived experience that is not like most other people's lived experience, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and Penn's mom is in line to a monarchy that no longer exists. They have been moved to Gondor because the line fell. At some point, the kingdom fell at some point. So yeah, you've got that beautiful line to call back to, and lots of big siblings to take up the call, because that's not Penn's interest. Penn is not scheming Game of Thrones style to bring everybody down. Okay. Love that. JJ, how do you feel about Warden?
I really actually like that. I really do. I feel like it's I think it's very fitting for Kiana, and it's got some really cool perks that I'm reading over.
Like what that is catching your eye?
Like for example, I'm looking right now at the Warden oaths. So I can either be a forayer, which is kind of like it says 4-air. It says you patrol the land ceaselessly seeking to ambush the servants of the enemy, for they are found in many places, not in Mordor only. And then everything is like a stealth. It's like a stealth and an ambush boost. So it's kind of just like I'm just always there in the shadows, like looking for enemies. Like it's kind of like really sneaky. And then it has Hunter, which is the other Warden Oath, which is basically like it's really just basically like being a badass hunter. And like I gain proficiency in hunting, which I already have as a whatever thing as my culture, which is really nice. And then it also has that for one of the things that you can do is that you can pick a favored foe when you're a warden, which means that you gain like I think it's like you gain proficiency if you pick like a foe, which obviously I would pick beast because that's just so on brand with the wolves. Yeah, and it's like you can add your wisdom modifier to a damage roll whenever you hit one of your favorite foes.
Brilliant.
It's really nice. It's got some great
Brilliant.
things on there. So yeah. I also like the shadow path. Because the shadow path is literally path of despair, which means that self-doubt is often the way that the shadow chooses to reach the heart of those who oppose it. For they know that the enemy is strong and terrible, and that those they protect are too naive or weak to fend for themselves. Every day they ask themselves, will my strength be enough to prevail, or will I drag down the innocent in defeat? And I just feel like that's such a great, like, that's such a something that Kiana would really kind of reflect with, just because I'm thinking about that battle with Grandma Nellie, where I was like, I was rolling terribly. Kiana couldn't hit anything to save her life, but then Nellie was doing mad damage, and she was like, she had to like question herself, am I not strong enough to do this to protect the people I care about? Oh no. So she had that moment of like self-reflection. So I think that would be really cool to kind of explore that.
Fantastic.
Sure.
See, this is why we talk about it. This is why, because there's all this way. Okay, so then going down to Rin, where do you think Rin falls in the callings here in the book?
I had two thoughts.
Okay.
So she's a rogue and she's like an assassin rogue. So I thought that I could either go treasure hunter or I could go warden. Because I like the thought of her just being incredibly, so like her specialties are like stealth and like I guess like surprise attacks, ambushes, I guess I could say. And also just having like, she's very perceptive and very, she's a little naive, so she doesn't really understand things like how people work. But in terms of like being like a very finely tuned assassin, she's very, very good at that.
We're gonna be such good friends. Like,
yeah,
just opposite. So it's like I'm all about the people. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay. I really like that.
I was leaning towards warden. But I can make treasure hunter work as well.
I don't think you need to. I have never had a problem with multiple people doing the same thing. Like, I mean, even looking at the source material itself, there were several people in there that would have fit into like very narrow categories here. And yeah, I think go with what your gut says for your character, because the callings or classes in D&D are so broad that they can be played a million different ways. So go with what your gut says.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I think I will then go with warden.
Yeah. And did you look at Messenger?
I did look at Messenger. It doesn't quite fit. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit.
I definitely looked at Messenger in terms of the fact that it says an experienced advisor. And I thought definitely, Rin's family would have trained Rin as best they could have into having those skills.
Does that mean she's good at it?
Those were not the words that I used. They would have trained her. You know what I'm saying? They would have spent some time and money on it. But we are
my
who
parents
we
trying
are.
to teach me math. It's just never going to happen. I'm just going to cry at the dinner table.
Exactly. And YouTube didn't exist, so you can't just learn things on your own. Like, it's just, that's the way of the world. Did I just say that? Okay, I'm gonna explore that later. All right. So yeah, I think that that's really cool. So warden, and then which of the two? I'm just scrolling down to warden. Which of the two warden oaths did you feel?
Oh, probably forayer.
Okay, I think that's great. And again, like there's such different ways to play those, and I think Kiana and Rin are such uniquely dynamic, in some ways like diametrically opposed characters. I'm really excited to see how both of you get to explore the characters with that. So I think that that's fantastic. I am just making notes for myself.
Well, that'll be great because you can be Fourier and then I can be Hunter, and it'd be perfect.
Just cover all of our bases.
Yeah, we got the whole thing covered.
Hell yeah.
And we got healing. We've got absolutely batshit knowledge. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fine.
And money. Penn will pay for everything. So you guys have everything that you need.
I'm sure they also have other skills.
Is that not?
Money is my main skill, to be honest.
Listen,
That's so valid.
I can help Penn by selling baked goods. It's fine. It's fine.
I will eat them before you sell them, to be honest.
This
I will
is
also
true.
eat them before you sell them.
Nelly
I'll
just
sell
really
portions for money.
opened my eyes to a new world of food.
Yes, yes. I'm her protege.
I love that.
We'll never eat Levis
are
bread again.
there are multiple other additions. So we've talked a lot about how some of us have struggled to like that it seems a little bit limited when you're just looking at the class. But one of the things that I liked about the free ring system, the One Ring Free League publishing system, is that it has things that aren't class or like culture race limited. There are things like crafts and shadow callings and other things that anybody can have access to. So I was wondering, did anybody look on page 64 and 65 and 66? There are some crafts. Beastcraft, which is the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts. Definitely we had a lot of that in the first season. The hens all speak with French accents. That's what I can tell you about hens in this world. Handcraft, which is like making things of superior skill and cunning. It's not necessarily just limited to kind of the backgrounds of like blacksmith, alchemist. Handcraft is that you definitely have an expertise that you can take a normal weapon and make it something special, or a normal something, a ring, and make it something special. Leechcraft can be learned by anybody, not just healers. And I think that that's really interesting. There's also runecraft, which is not totally the same thing as like the runes I think that Gilly plays with to kind of determine, for better or for worse, whether it's true or not, determine the fates of the world.
She reads her horoscope in the morning,
Yeah, sure.
Just to see what's up.
Absolutely. It just, if nothing else, it either gives you something to strive for or fight against, and purpose is something we all need from day to day, right?
Oh, yeah.
There are runecraft also is how things can be imbued with certain powers. Songcraft, which is very specifically about songs. Like we know bards in D&D don't only have to sing songs. There's lots of ways to be a bard, but songcraft is specifically about kind of bards and or singing and epic poems and storytelling. I'm sorry, singing in particular, because there is also speechcraft, which is typically a student of Cinderella in Kenya, the ancient tongues, which have the advantage when interacting with elves. As an action, you can spend an additional craft slot and choose somebody else, and basically give inspiration is essentially what speechcraft is. It's not only limited to bards. Anybody can get that. There is also then weaponcraft and woodcraft. And I was just wondering, did any of those call to any of you? Is anybody taking a craft?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead, India.
Yeah, scholars have to take 2 crafts, at least 2 crafts, maybe 3 crafts. But I definitely was looking at woodcraft and leechcraft as just like grew up in Fangorn Forest, surviving there, woodcraft, and also the healing stuff for Leechcraft. But yeah, like those are the two that I was very like set on.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Katie.
I mean, obviously, I feel like the speechcraft fits with my whole jam. I'm curious about like how flexible we are with like. It's like I feel like songcraft works too, and of course, there's a lot of like singing and stuff for elves. I don't think that's Gilly's main jam. I feel like she's maybe taken that song and like probably still uses a song, but like channels it into something else. And so if there's still song involved, but that's not really like the mode of transportation for this craft, then I'd be interested in the songcraft too.
I mean, first off, as a DM, I'm going to say, yes, of course, let's take your idea and run with it. As somebody who also consumes the movies as my comfort entertainment, I have a direct correlation to how that exists for a character that is somewhat like Gilly, like not necessarily a high elf or a leading elf, but the Toriel in the second Hobbit movie. I think it's the second one where the hobbits all get captured and then they're being held in jail cells. And there's that whole I think it's a beautiful scene because I love elven dwarvish romance, but where Keely and Toriel meet for the first time. He's in the jail cell and he's talking about like the rock, and they're listening to all the other elves singing. And Toriel is still participating. There's still like that elven kind of almost like Borg-like connection of like they have this like group mind, and they have this ancient connection with each other. But she's not doing it in the way that the others are. But she's still observing that moment. So yeah, I think if a purist wants to come in here and fight me, I have some canon to fight back with them.
That's fine.
But I would say yes anyway.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you know what? I never thought that any of the Hobbit movies would help me in any way, but here we are. So that's great.
I love them.
I'm glad that Hobbit movies.
I'm glad that you do. We're not going to unpack all the reasons why I don't.
Nope, that's totally fair. But yeah, man, the dwarves singing. I listen to that as like my lo-fi. I'm here for that.
Yeah, it's great.
Hey, and by the way, happy Pride Month, Richard Armitage, Thorin Oakenshield came out officially this year, and happy Pride Month to you, our new brother.
Welcome.
Happy Pride Month. Welcome to the chaos. I mean, you've been out for a while to your friends and family, but like for all of us, that's what I'm saying. Okay, we're keeping on. Anybody else here? Any of the crafts that they were super interested in?
I was interested in either Songcraft or Beastcraft. Both make sense for my character, I think.
Okay.
I think because just as a noble elf, I do think that music and singing would appeal to Ren. And then also she is an elf of what is called the Wilder Woods, and it's called that for a reason. It is quite wild. I do think that she would have a good relationship with animals. So either or, I was down for either.
Especially with your like foray warden thing, that the beast thing would be cool.
Yeah.
And I think also that goes back to like that assassin rogue piece of like the fact that Ren would find value in lowly creatures that nobody else would, because they help achieve goals. And so, yeah, like just from a storytelling perspective, I think that that's really unique. I say go for it. And I will just start practicing. I have one accent, audience. It is.
Do you know what's so funny? Wait, stop. Do you know
French.
what's so funny? Because there was a moment where I was going to do a French accent for Harrow, but then I was I can't say Harrow's name in a French accent.
Look,
can't do it. I'm so sorry, France. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, full out. It is. It's not. I live much closer to Quebec now. People could come to my house and be offended to my face at what's about to happen in the next 5 episodes. But here we go.
Oh God.
There is one accent, and it is French. Use your magic wisely. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. It's on you. It's not on me anymore.
I'm really excited about you summoning some wolves that Kiana can throw at people. That's going to be like a fun bond that I'm really interested in.
I was going to say it's a symbiotic relationship, but it just seems parasitic, I think, actually.
It's fine.
I will give you the opportunity to talk to them, and then if the conversation don't go right, I'm going to just yeet.
And then Guzdak can heal them after symbiosis.
Honestly, I totally see a future scene where Kiana's like, these fucking wolves must love me. Like they just keep showing up, and Ray's just kind of in the background being like, what the fuck am I doing here? They're me. They're me. The wolves are me. Love me. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so that is the crafts that can be selected. I am watching this time tick by. We are a 2-hour stream for those of you in the audience. Thank you for being here with us. If anybody in the audience has any character questions that they like to ask players, feel free to drop those in. I do have some character questions that I would like to ask. I am desperately trying to get up in my notes to just see if there was anything else that I wanted to ask about. Crafts, more than one calling, equipment, rewards, virtues. So there are virtues also in this setting. Page 80 to my cast.
Oh yeah, I wrote in the chat. I realized that one of the elf virtues is like one of the like queens or gods or whatever, the Eldrin, not Eldrin, Eldar. Sorry, mixing up my D&D and my Lord of the Rings is named like their last name is Gilthoniel, and I was like, I did not look that up. I just used my Elvish knowledge to create a name I thought was cool, because like the like Thoniel part also means daughter, as well as the stuff that it means together. And so I was like, that's really cool. And then I saw that and was like, oh, looks like I just stole it. Maybe I didn't change my name. It's fine. Maybe I'm named after them.
Yeah, that's fine. It's all good. So virtues are a bit like abilities. They're going to be things that, or feats, actually, I guess is the better version of that, is now that I'm saying words out loud for all of the internet to see. They're feats. There are common ones that anybody can have access to. There are specific ones to specific cultural groups. Let me say this also, just this is how I run my games. If you are a dwarf who was adopted by elves and raised with elves, you might not know the dwarven like virtues or feats. You definitely would have access to the elven ones. I don't think that they're kind of class or cultural or racially limited in any way. So, depending on your backstory, or, if Guzdax, for instance, has spent a significant amount of time in the woods, but would have been seen like men, like I say men, but like people passing through, and would have been able to observe that, maybe would have picked up some things. So don't limit yourselves just to what is in your kind of culture, the cultural virtues. If there is a reason that you can justify to me in character why your person might have access to this, and I think also a Penn for this. Penn has several siblings, all by different fathers. Their picture looks like, their family Christmas picture looks like the Lord of the Rings poster. Like everybody's a different height. Everybody's got various, So, lots of options there. And we can talk more about kind of those virtues. Did anybody have a virtue that they were like ready to tackle?
I mean, like, oddly enough, the one that's named after me, Elbereth Gilthoniel, is so it's in the name of Elbereth, the Queen of Stars. They're revered by the Eldar. Basically, you're like, it's kind of, it feels a little bit like divine intervention, but it's just like you resort to calling on her name in moments of great need. So you get to increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma score by 1. And then when you're not miserable, you can make an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, and you can do so with advantage as long as you're not miserable. And you can do it as many times equal to your proficiency bonus. And I feel like it also kind of feels like the lucky feat a little bit. I was like, all those kind of jam with her. I feel like if she was named after some sort of like Queen of Stars or whatever, she's gonna get on board with that and be like, yeah, that's my lady. Give me your blessings, Star Girl.
God.
That's a t-shirt. Okay, that's
Give
fantastic.
me your blessings, Star Girl. Yeah.
Love that. Yes, absolutely. That would make sense. Somebody else was going to talk and I interrupted. Jazz, go.
Hello. I was looking at the deadly archery virtue. I was going to call it
Fair.
a feat. But yeah, I was looking at that one. I was also looking at nimbleness, but I think that deadly archery makes more sense because if there's one thing she's good at, it's killing things. My elf is very sweet. I feel I need to like put that out there. She's actually a really sweet girl. She's just really
Sweet but deadly.
Murderous.
scary. Yeah. She's just a little.
I'm
She's a
so
little scary.
excited to learn about the backstory of like how this sweet little girl got real good at murder.
It's because her parents looked away for 2 seconds and she got into the armory.
There you go. That's how it always starts.
And she has a goth older friend that's like, hey, have you ever contemplated death?
Yeah.
It's
It's like, oh, I never thought about it. Yeah.
It's a wild ride, my friends.
The pipeline from sweet girl to
I think I've been looking between the two, which is stout-hearted and confidence. I think those two would fit really good with Kiana.
Okay, fantastic.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember hearing you say that you were being a kind and benevolent lore master and giving us one virtue for free.
Correct.
Awesome. So I have two that I would like.
Okay.
You can only have one.
Well, one at the start, and then at level 4 we can get another virtue. So I was trying to get the.
It's true.
I know. I was yelling at you for no reason. I'm sorry. I'll mute myself now.
That's okay. You know, it happens. Sometimes we just gotta let it out. So I was thinking about the strength of will virtue. I ended up like biting a lot of like race features, not race, culture features from the Rangers of the North sort of heroic culture, because Guzdox has spent most of their formative years like in Fangorn Forest in a gnarly like place with Ents like helping to guide and be in community with her. And it just felt like Rangers of the North were the most like the Outlander background in D&D. So I just sort of like took a lot of that. The strength of will is sort of like an Outlander feature, because I imagine that Sauron and Sauron's like sort of gaze and eye are very much like on this one orc that just isn't falling in line. So I think I saw like somewhere that like there was a ranking system to like how some of the heroic cultures like have like the level to which Sauron is looking at some of the heroic cultures, and like halflings were at 0, and like I think elves and dwarves were at 1 or 2, and then high elves were at 3. I imagine she has broken the scale with like how much like people are looking at her. So I was thinking, all right, she's very practiced in like shielding the mind from all these very bad things that want to get in. So strength of will virtue was one. And then the mastery virtue, because I love the expertise feature. I
Mhm.
like being good at things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking at.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. Cool. Arc?
Yes, I also have two. I also chose stout-hearted because I inspire others. I'm very talky in character, not in real life. You guys should be so inspired by me in character. I also picked dour-handed since I don't have a craft as my second one, which just means I smash harder. I was trained, I assume, by a swords master, battle master, growing up. And I'm not that intelligent, so books didn't stick with me, but swords did a little bit.
Can I
Nice.
just also say that I love that your calling is basically leader, and you are person in armor protecting everyone, and we're saying, oh yeah, your role in the party is money. You're the Batman of our group, and I love it.
Yes.
I'm the Batman.
I
Oh
think
my
that's
gosh.
correct. Like, Penn doesn't really want to lead so much as inspire others to their greatness. And
Your pen man. That pen.
yes,
Can I be your Robin? Keon's gonna be your
you
Robin
are the
from now
Batman in
on.
that situation. Let's be real.
Well, we
I'm your
already
Robin.
have a Wren, which is basically a Robin.
That's true.
That's true.
Is it?
You know what? They're both birds. Okay, get off my back.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
This is but one of many examples of how I'm just going to stay quiet and not have to do anything or any
It's
prep,
true.
and the 2 hours will just flow by.
The danger
No.
is we'll never get anything done, though. We'll just
Look.
talk shit about Batman.
I am not gonna lie. I composed like a 12-verse epic poem today, and we have a plot. So let's find it soon. And with that, I think what we'll do, we have about 30 minutes left. Actually, only about 15 because we're going to spend some time doing some wrap up. What I'm going to get everybody to do is I have some character questions. Now, to stream, to take you a little bit behind the scenes here at Rangers of the North, we use something called VDO Ninja. And that gives me the ability to kind of do a little bit of a virtual whisper. It means that I can have a conference with one other person or whomever I want, and the others can't hear. And I am keen to do that and to get to practice that. So I am going to get, we'll just go back in order. So it'll be Guzdox, Gilly, Kiana, Penn, and Ren. We'll just go in order. And I've just got like 1 or 2 character questions that I want to ask you that are just going to help me kind of like flesh out some more interesting pieces as a DM that I can give you a shining light on your character. Okay. So I'll get everybody else to mute, to like deafen the speakers. And then we'll call you back. Katie knows the secret. That's going to be the sign. Katie will do the sign to get everybody back. Okay.
Wait, how do
Can
I
everybody
know?
hear me? I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how will you tell me if I'm muted?
Well, we're going to have to work out this system. We have 2 weeks to figure out the rest of this system.
Okay. Well, I will watch carefully for any like micro movements in your face to go.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it.
Let's do it.
Okay. I think everybody's probably muted now. So, Anita.
Hi, Sarah.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm so good. This feels so intimate. It's just the 2 of us.
I am so excited to just get this time to chat with you. Also, I just really love watching everybody else's faces as we're like, I think this whisper is dangerous for me because I love stuff like this. Okay. What is the most important thing your character could think of doing for someone else?
Ooh. So the answer to this one was pretty short. Like the worst feeling, it's hard for Guzdox to not go feral and be attacking people and doing all sorts of violence and cannibalism and whatnot. It is difficult. So it took a lot of willpower and strength and learning. Like, yeah, they had to learn empathy. And it was a process. So I think that something that Guzdax is very passionate about is helping other people get out of the influence of the eye, of Saruman, of dark magic. She thinks that that is like the best thing that one person can do for another.
And you said that it's taken her a long time to like unlearn these bad norms that are not bad. Like they are just ways of being for orcs. For Saruman created orcs. Does she have judgment against those things? Does she view them as those were bad things and orcs should not do them and I should not do them?
The cannibalism is bad. Like, you shouldn't eat people. You shouldn't. I think she has very much like come to that realization of like, when I was eating people, that was a low. That was not, we're not going back there. And we're not keeping community with people that are going back there. But like with other stuff of just like being a culture of warriors, like raiding places for like goods, being bandits, that's fine. I think that for her, like the resistance and recovery from like being in Sauron's like vibe, it's like it's sort of, yeah, it's just she knows that like for her, she doesn't want to like carry a sword. She doesn't want to do like very violent things, and because if she does, then she might slip back into old habits. And yeah, she has like gotten a very like pacifist-ish, like sort of like outlook from where she was.
Do you intend as like an ongoing character theme to play that like almost like she's in recovery or like she's sober from that experience of like actively expressing in moments of like combat of like, I am struggling to maintain this. I'm struggling to maintain this calm, rational demeanor. Is that something you're interested in role playing? Or is it just assumed that the character has gone through this and is like on the other side of that?
Maybe like I sort of do. I really like when I was reading through the whole like thing, I liked the sort of like Eye of Sauron as a sort of like force that is like felt. And I would love, yeah, I think I would like to sort of play with that.
To have it explicit. Yeah, great. That's fantastic. Okay, thank you. I will have more questions, but I'll send them to you on Discord. Fantastic. You can mute yourself. And where's my camera? Gilly?
Okay.
Gilly.
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, just talking shit in the Twitch stream. How are you?
It's the best way of being.
It's been great.
What is your character most insecure about, and what do you most want them to grow in?
So I've had this terrible habit lately of creating all these like really weird dark characters who are like not self-conscious about their weirdness at all, because I want that for me and for everybody who's ever been weird.
Yeah.
So I don't really want their weirdness to be the thing that makes them insecure. And I don't want them to feel like ostracized by their group. I think it's more like maybe they're insecure about the fact that they're like trying something new and they're not like, they want to believe that it works and that it's real and they have all this information and they like, you know, they're like jetting off into the unknown, but there's no like support system there for them. It's all kind of unknown territory of attempting to like, I don't know, a Ouija board with spirits and stuff. So
Right.
I think that's probably like I think that they know that this is something that they want to do and this is something that's a part of them, and that they, you know, they respect and honor all of their elven history and stuff. They just think that like maybe there's things that have been overlooked due to tradition.
Right.
And so I think that's like just grow more confidence in the fact that like things can be different than they were before without it being bad.
So it's not necessarily that, and I think that this is kind of a real analog for a lot of us. It's relevant to like Pride Month of like, we weren't necessarily raised in homes where being queer, being gay was bad. It just wasn't a thing that was really represented. And so going and finding community and finding culture
100%
then becomes this thing. So that is a big thing that you want to see Gilly find her family, like find people who not just like, yeah, okay, that's who you are, fine, whatever, but like actually like can support her and help her grow.
Totally. And like I think that her community and her family was very supportive and loving, but also just like doesn't know how to talk to a ghost. So how do I help you with that, you know?
Yeah.
And like and the sort of like you know, like well-meaning uninformed kind of way where you're like, well, you're doing your best with what you got, but like it's not quite enough.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, I'm making a note because I wonder how much for Guzdax, who has like this, has spent a lot of time in the presence of like shamans and like wild magic users, that maybe Gilly might look at Guzdax almost like a mentor, which is really an interesting concept because I don't think Guzdax views themselves as being capable of being that for somebody else. Like they're,
and especially like my charisma is off the goddamn charts. So it's like being able to like throw that like enthusiasm,
like that golden retriever.
To like tell me, teach me, show me what you know to this person who feels othered would be really cool.
I love that. Okay, thank you. You can silence.
Oh, okay.
So quick. JJ's not even paying attention.
Okay.
Not even paying attention. Looking at your phone. Phone's down, class.
No, it's because I can read. It's because I can read lips, and so I was trying not to look.
Amazing. Okay, Kiana.
Yeah.
What is your character? What do you most want Kiana to grow in? Like, she had such a big growth arc in season 1.
Right.
Is there more that you want her to grow in?
Oh, that's a great question.
Or is there like an ultimate goal? Is she actively looking for her brother right now? Like, what's a scene? What's a moment that you want to see for her this season?
I would say that I would kind of want to see her because I was looking over this Warden stuff, and it seems like this is much more of a kind of like almost like an intelligence character. Like they're not just like kind of like, you know, I'm a big strong brute. There's a lot that goes into their intelligence and wisdom. So I think that now that Kiana is more of like a seasoned traveler and is a little bit older, I think what I would really like to see with her is probably kind of more tactic, I would say. I definitely still want her to, at the core, be like this kind of very. I still want her to be like this protector of people for sure. But I think I want to see like kind of an almost level-headedness to her that was probably not fully displayed in season 1.
So just like maturing a bit.
Yeah.
She's got Grandma Nellie to like love on her and make her feel secure. So now it's about like, now that she's safe and secure, now she has this room to like really grow and start to find herself.
Right. I think that there's a good balance with kind of the ruggedness that she was kind of raised into, and kind of now with the tender touch of being with Grandma Nellie and kind of seeing that's kind of now she's just trying to balance the two. I think, and definitely maturing into that. I think as far as her brother is concerned, I think she's still kind of hoping to find any clues about him. But she's not kind of like actively like seeking out her brother, because I think she kind of is very like she takes comfort in the fact that the way that they were raised, like they were raised to survive. And so like wherever he is, she's thinking that he is okay. That's the hope that she has. But as far as like if her brother makes an appearance, she will definitely investigate that, or if she finds a clue as to where, she will probably investigate that now, probably more likely.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That was my question.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I clearly figured out the mute system so well. I did not.
Just take off your headphones. That's the opposite of my daughter. When she doesn't want to hear me, she just puts her noise canceling AirPods on, and then she just doesn't have to listen to mom. So that works out. It's the opposite. Okay. For Penn, who was the most influential person in Penn's life, and where are they now, and what is the relationship now that Penn isn't at home?
Oof. I mean, I'm going to have to say her mother, Lalaith. I don't think they have... Her mother's like a very free spirit. Like, I don't want to say Crystal Mommy, but a little bit Crystal Mommy. Like, she doesn't have a craft, but she kind of adheres to those rituals and routines. And is very like open spirit. I found my way in the world. Now find yours. No, not that way. Like kind of relationship. Like you need to find your way in the world, but the way that I did. Don't do this whole battle thing. We're in a peacetime. So her mom's very inspirational. It's just like a feminine leader committed to her own life, finding her way in life, where Penn is just finding that now. But they kind of have that tentative relationship.
And where is Penn? If somebody asked Penn, oh, where's home for you? Would Penn still say Gondor?
Probably. I think what she finds that she likes in travel is kind of the things she liked about home. Like when you think of Minas Tirith, you think of like marbled halls, very pristine. Like that's not necessarily how she grew up with so many siblings. Like everything is used. There's carpets on everything. It's very warm. So being like near the hobbits to have that kind of homey, lived-in environment is like, and the chaos of a million people. Yeah, it's very familiar. So like being in taverns is like, oh shit, this is where I'm supposed to be for her.
So where is the biggest character growth? What's the goal for Penn this season?
I think Penn has just been like, I think she has regret leaving home in that she knew she couldn't be there to grow, and she doesn't really know who she wants to be or who she wants to protect. Like, what does a warrior do in peacetime? Who are you protecting when you're not protecting your own family? So for her, I think it's finding herself and like gaining confidence in her ability to lead, even if it's not like as nobility, lead in other aspects of life.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jazz can see. I just need Jazz. Jazz. You're muted. adorable, but muted.
I said that was good timing because I was paying attention to other things. I just happened to look.
You're doing so good. Okay, Ren,
Yay.
this elf noble, the youngest child from the Wilder Woods, out also kind of, how does this kid who grows up as an elf noble turn into an assassin rogue? What is that story?
So primarily her family protects like their woods, right? It's like their domain. And so all of the kids have like combat training. She just took to hers very well. She is very nimble and dexterous and very sneaky. And although, I mean, like, roguery, I think, is maybe, it's not frowned upon, but it's not as common, I think, of a path to take in terms of like, you're a protector, you protect the woods. But she was always, I mean, she's the youngest of like 9 kids. So she always went kind of unnoticed. And she just kind of learned to lean into that and use that as kind of a strength. And I think the other thing is that she really likes it. She's really good at it, and it's something that she can cling to, because she's better at it than all of her siblings, and so that's like her one claim to I guess just being unique.
Okay. And what is the thing that the character is most confident about, and what do you most want Rin to be celebrated for?
Oh, wow, that's a deep question. She's definitely most confident about her sneaking abilities, her stealth, primarily. She had to really hone that to, sneak out as often as she did. And it's an asset that she leans into now. Celebrated for, that's a good question. I think for me as a player and as like a writer type person, I really want her to feel loved and accepted and noticed for who she is, because I think that a lot of her issues kind of stem from just neglect, not in like a bad way, not in like an on purpose kind of way, but just there's a lot of people to take care of in the family, and then they also look after all of the creatures in the woods. And so a lot of times she just really felt very unnoticed and unappreciated. So I think that for me, I would really love for her to find a place and be that through her kindness or her skill, or her endless curiosity about the world. I think that she's really precious, and should be treated as such.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll see if any of them notice none of them are paying attention. Oh,
Ark was. Yeah.
Somebody in chat, tell Katie to come back to us.
We did it.
It is.
We did it again.
There it is. We look, and in chat was like, pay attention. Amazing. Thank you, chat, for having my back. Okay, so we have been through 2 hours of some truly incredible character creation. And I am excited to tell this story. My original, hope for the story was that we were going to stay as townies and Bree and just kind of tell that story, because I don't think it's one that's really reflected. And then I was mischievous as a DM and had just the most beautiful thought for an epic opening scene. And I was like, oh, that's going to force them immediately out of Bree. There's no going back. So, we're just, I mean, ultimately you guys can decide to stay if you want to. That's the beauty of it. You guys can be like, fuck the story hook. We're baking cookies with Grandma Nellie. Legit choices. Okay. That being said, I want to give my incredible players time to wrap up and kind of share a little bit about themselves and where else you can see them. And as a reminder, we will be back in 2 weeks. You should come back next Monday. Not at this time; it's a little bit earlier, but we are doing a Juneteenth episode. It's called Citaspell. It's with Arnica and our very own Anita, and Ava and Sumiko and Lily Lescribe are going to be the rest of the cast for that. It is going to be excellent. I am so excited for that. It's a Savage Worlds game. And so, yeah, we're super thrilled to be able to program that. So we will be back in 2 weeks on, I think it's the 26th.
Yes.
I think sounds right to me. Fantastic. Thank you, Katie. All right.
I know time.
You do know time. We'll go same order as we did before. And you can say who you are, what else you do, where people can find you on the social medias. And then we'll get ready to I've got some wrap up notes and then we'll raid somebody.
Oh, fun.
Hey, everybody. Oh, that's me, right? I'm supposed to be starting?
Yeah.
Okay. I did go first the first time. Great. Hey, I'm Anita. At Anita the Lesbian on the Twitters. Follow me there if you want to know when I'm doing stuff. My next doing stuff that will be live in person for the people to see is on Wednesday. We have just finished up a hiatus where people went on honeymoons and took well-earned vacations, but we're back on the Fusca D&D channel, or is it the Fusca channel? I'm pretty sure it's just the Fusca channel. It's the Fusca D&D Twitter page, but it's the Fusca channel on Twitch. You type in Fusca D&D, you'll get the gist. And we'll be playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm a wizard in a magic castle, and it's not going good, fam. There are so many demons. There are so many demons. Stick around and find out on Wednesday night. We'll be there. And yeah, I'm Anita. Find me there. At Anita the Lesbian. Yeah.
On all of the
stuff. And yeah, I'm really only on Twitter.
And Insta. I tagged you on Insta today.
Oh, I never use my Instagram. I'm sorry.
Well,
it's there.
You have at least one tag.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Gosh, but yeah, you're probably not going to hear from me if you try to contact me on Instagram. I'm sorry, but if you want to learn my sense of humor, I'm also on TikTok at Anita the Lesbian, and I do memes. Sometimes from a home D&D game and sometimes from a streamed game. It's follow me on Twitter if you want actual information, if you want to chuckle sometimes at TikTok audios, you can come through, I guess. But that's me. I've taken a lot of time. I forget who I tossed it to last time.
Is it me next? No, it's not.
Yeah. Nope. I have Gilly, and then I have Katie, and then
Katie.
JJ, and then Ark, and then Jazz.
Yeah. I remembered things. Everyone give me a gold star. Hi, I'm Katie. You can find me at suburban garage sales looking for haunted amulets. You can also find me on Instagram mostly because Twitter scares me at CriticalSpark20. I've just recently realized that I can make both my Twitter and my Instagram the same name. Which seems like a normal thing anyone else would do, but here we are. If you send me things on Twitter, I will respond. It does show up in my notifications. I just don't know how to navigate that particular hellscape. The hell planes in D&D, super into. You can find me here doing this. I also do a lot of work with Fablemancers. Right now we're doing a Stars Without Numbers campaign where I play a dweeby 12-year-old boy who's a hacker and a super cool dude. His name is Jordan, but he makes everyone call him Electo. It's fun. It's a good time. And we are currently heisting fuel and traveling the cosmos. So that's Wednesdays at 7 Pacific time, I think, at the Fablementers Twitch. And then I'm also here doing this. And I'm also rummaging through your trash to try to find old fries.
We'll dig into that next week for sure.
I certainly
need
will.
More story for that. Let's go, JJ.
Okay. Hello, my lovelies. Hi. I am JJ. You can find me on Twitter. So you can find me on Twitter at JJ_Cray. My Instagram is still a mystery. And yeah, we're not gonna go there. So yes, hello. I am your friendly neighborhood chef. TTRPG chef. I love being here. Let's see, what am I doing? Besides this, every other Tuesday, you can find me over at Tales from the Table Studios, where we are doing a Monsters of the Week campaign. And I play like a really punk rock character there, which is really fun because that's totally different from my actual personality. So it's kind of really nice to explore that. And let's see, you can also find me this Saturday. You can find me over at DMDM Studios, which is actually where we first did season 1 of this campaign, which is really nice. So show some love over there. Where I will be playing in the Legacy campaign, which is a sci-fi setting that was created by the last Omnitech. So we're actually playtesting that, which has been really, really fun. And I play a space jelly alien, and it's really fun because I make a lot of jokes about wiggling everywhere, and it's wonderful. And I think that's about it for me. Oh, and then on Sundays, I go ahead and do the Tasty Tavern, which is my TTRPG cooking show, which is basically where I make recipes from TTRPG cookbooks. That is kind of on hiatus, but that should be coming back in July, I'm pretty sure. But other than that, I'm just over here streaming on Twitch, Band Reaper 97, and I think that's it. So yeah.
Can I just say that is everything I never knew I always wanted was
It's
just
so good.
TTRPG's cooking shows.
It's so good.
I don't know.
It's really funny because literally like they are my highest viewed streams. Like if I go on to my VODs, those are my most viewed VODs.
I want to just like vibe out and watch that in the background while I'm like, I don't know, eating something and playing Zelda. Like that sounds amazing.
Yes, the people who answered my little poll now made it so that I also am in costume now. So that's actually been pretty fun to explore that.
Put the links in the chat. Put the links in the chat.
You guys will definitely be seeing Kiana up in the kitchen cooking. Hopefully some sticky buns. It's gonna happen.
Buns.
It's gonna happen.
I love that so much. Arc.
Oh, hey, I'm Arcanian Ending. I'm here all the time. I'm going to be here Friday for Misspent Youth, where I play also a rich, annoying teenager. Apparently that's my vibe right now. I'll be back next week on Sunday for Contour and Charisma Season 3. We're doing Vampire the Masquerade. It's going to be amazing.
Can we start this week? It's fantastic.
Next week.
Next week. I'm with you. I was like,
yeah.
I haven't finished that overlay yet. I got to work on that. Okay, next week.
2 weeks. And then I'll be back here on Mondays playing Pen. And it's amazing. Follow Girls Run These Worlds and Girls Write These Worlds. And Pride comes out in 3 days. So keep your eyes on that.
Yes, the Pride zine comes out in 3 days. Okay, Jazz.
What up? My name's Jazz, also known as Cinder Scoria. You can find me on Twitter. That's usually where I hang out. What am I doing? Gosh. Well, I am usually here Mondays, obviously, but also on Queen's Court Games Mondays. I know it's the timing is incredible, but yes, they are doing Kids on Brooms game, Mysteries of Ravenswood, where I play a more masculine jock, nerd, hot boy TM. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Yes. Okay. Cool. He's also British. He's really hot. He's like really hot. Anyway, whatever. You can also find me on. You can find me tomorrow on Zaddy's channel. 6 p.m. Pacific, I believe. Or is it 6:30 p.m. Pacific, which is pretty late. It's our series finale though, so it would mean the world if you could hop through. We play a homebrewed game of D&D 5e called the Mists of Elixia. I play a Warforged sorcerer/fighter who is the most deadpan and violent and socially inept person ever. But they're very sweet. Well, no, they're not. They're actually a bitch, but it's fine.
So you just have one character you'd color for different things, hey?
No, that is not true. Those 3 characters are quite different, but yes, also yes, they're all
everywhere.
I'm not judging you. I'm just calling you out. Yeah.
All nerds, all
Listen,
nerds, all nerds.
all of my characters are lonely and insecure and need to be loved.
Look, that TikTok sound of like, I have 3 looks and that's it. You know,
that's exactly what it is.
Because also the first time I got to work with you, Jazz, like Ezra.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
Listen.
Look, everybody, go check out the upcoming soon 3rd season of the Arcane Core over on Other
please
Studios.
do. It's on Other Center Studios where I play Mo Jackson, who is actually you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yep.
I think that's all I'm doing right now. But there are going to be other things going forward as well. Just keep an eye on it. I am on Twitter
For more murderous cuties.
For more, all of my characters are murderous cuties. And also, oh my gosh, if you like books and reading, I have a book. Well, I have an anthology that I wrote a short story in called Being Ace. Actually, hold on. The art just came out. It's called Being Ace. It's edited by Madeline Dyer. It is an anthology of all asexual-led or aspec-led characters written by aspec authors, and you should check that out. It should be out in October, but you can add it now on NetGalley and Goodreads. Please do.
Amazing.
If you want to read.
That's
if you
fantastic.
Me writing books and stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
I love that.
That's it.
Okay, well, everybody, this is my phenomenal cast. I am Sarah Moore, SMooreAD on all of the things. I think literally on everything, including Discord. I got to pick my Discord name today, so let's go.
Oh, that's right.
I am the CEO here at Girls Run These Worlds, one of the original 4 founders, and this is the first show I've ever run here. So you can find me doing this. This is the only thing that I do in TTRPG right now. I will in July be having Community Cleric come back, which I'm super excited about. It's a weekly interview show, one-on-one, which I really love doing. But my biggest thing that you could do to be, I am a voice actor in a podcast called Records from the Reaver that is just starting to come out, which I kind of recorded on the DL. It's a space mystery. It's fucking amazing. The 17-year-old who wrote, directed, and edited the whole thing blows my mind with their unbelievable talent. So Records from the Reaver. But it's run by a Gen Z, so they're not on Twitter. You're gonna have to go look for them somewhere else. And I'll have to update.
You can find them on TikTok.
You're gonna find them on TikTok.
Yeah, probably on TikTok. That might be it. That could be it. And
trying to sneak past your brilliance by the homies without telling nobody.
Listen,
right?
I recorded it like in December, but it's just now starting to come out.
So. Just like legitimately forgot about it.
It's been a minute. And then the other thing that you could do that would really be supportive is please support queer creators. Please support women and femme and marginalized gender creators. And that doesn't mean necessarily spend money. You can retweet, you can spread the word, you can tell other people, you can comment and like and subscribe and follow. All of those things matter. But if you have a couple of extra dollars, because we're dropping the price significantly because Pride, hit our magazine and pick up Zine 3 Pride that comes out on Thursday on Itch. It has been a true labor of love. It is 77 pages with all original art. It is 9 brand new original pieces of TTRPG creation that is all about queer love and joy and happiness. We've rewritten ghouls as a playable ancestry. We have gay dwarf moms who run a tavern. We have Rainbow Revenge is a ship about found family. There is a whole Thirsty Sword Lesbians module, which is based on the
As
colors
there
of the
should
Pride
be.
flag, which is fucking brilliant. There is a list of queer fantasy books, so you can infuse queer fantasy into your games. I'm definitely going to forget some of the things. Arc, help me
many
remember.
things.
We have the riot purse.
The fucking riot purse. It's a riot clutch. It's a sequined evening clutch of riot holding. When you go in and need it,
Rip it in.
you just pull out bricks to
Yes!
attend a riot. It's Arnica wrote that. Fucking amazing.
I have a pride shirt that says the first pride was a riot, and I love it. I wish I had worn it.
That's what this is. The other thing, Evander the Folk Hero is a romance novelist, pan ace romance novelist. The Mask Bearer's Meteor is a weapon that, depending on how you perceive your gender, it has different properties. The Hyades Club is a Call of Cthulhu speakeasy that is entirely written and run by queer characters. The Ancestry Ghoul, yeah, that's it. There is 9 amazing things, so you should go and check that out. It is an extremely low, affordable price because we want everybody to get their hands on it. So please support queer creators. And with that, we are a few minutes over. I apologize. Come back and see us in 2 weeks, my loves. As the adventure continues, we are going to raid Queen's Court Games because I need to see Jazz's triad of character in one.
He's really hot.
I've never rated anything before, and I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
We love a raid. We do so many raids here. So thanks everybody. Follow us for the raids. Say hi over there, and thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.